Happy Devils Wednesday. This is the State of the Fan Address, episode 160, titled Naz and Recchi are out. Again, Naz and Recchi are out. As we're streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. I'm your host, Sam Woo, here with Nick Villano, Pucks and Pitchforks blog editor-in-chief, talking Devils hockey where there is no offseason. As the Stanley Cup playoffs, wow, it's been a pretty interesting Stanley Cup playoffs. You got a lot of fights. You got a lot of controversy. You've got a lot of saves, but no win to show for it. My goodness. We're back. Nick.
Hey, Sam, how you doing?
What are you doing?
Don't
fall asleep on me.
I left my computer on the other side of the room, so I'm trying to share this on my phone, and it's not as easy.
Do you want me to go solo so you can get your computer? I can.
Nah, we good.
or you just don't trust me with the audience?
I mean, listen, you got that Sunday show on lock. You got the Woo report. You got this, but no, we good now. Listen, this is always the way. And I'm curious of how what they're going to do. I wonder if these are just the two coaches that know now, because obviously there's two other assistant coaches on the staff, one being a goalie coach, and obviously goaltender was basically what tanked the season. You know, and the secret thing is that, you know, even when we had Blackwood and Bernier, it's not like they played well. Like Bernier, you know, he had some good games, but it's clear that the hip really bothered him by the end of it. Same thing with Blackwood. Blackwood, you know, didn't really play well with that heel injury, and it's just something that like really ruined his confidence. That was the thing. And I kind of try to point this out back in December when he was playing. I was like, he's not playing like he's hurt. He's playing like he's making mistakes. But it's entirely possible that heel injury just sucked away his confidence. You know, it's entirely possible that he just had no feeling in himself that he could do it because of the heel. I don't know if you remember that one game in December when Blackwood just handed the puck to the other team right in front of his net and they scored. Do you remember that?
There have been plenty, actually.
Yeah, that's fair. It's hard to pick just one, right? So, you know, I'm surprised, but tomorrow's the day. I think tomorrow's the day we find out about Ruff. Tom Fitzgerald speaks at 11, I believe. So that's going to be when we kind of learn what the future holds for the head coaching position. I have this sneaky feeling, and I was reading Dan Rice wrote a piece on Damon Severson that's going to come out tomorrow morning, and he mentioned something that seems inconsequential, but was kind of a big deal, is that Severson spoke to Ruff as his exit interview, not Fitzgerald. So when he was talking about wanting to stay, I'm telling you right now, I'm not an influencer on Tom Fitzgerald. I just see the same things that he is seeing in Ruff.
And I know a lot of fans are going to, criticize, but I'm going to triple and quadruple down. He is the right coach for next season. If the results are bad, fire him.
Okay, but why would you? Okay, let me ask you
the
this.
diplomatic way, not renew your contract. I think that's what they were kind of saying.
Well, let me ask you this: why do you want him back? Let me ask you that first, because this is a setup, by the way. But
well, this is again. I have my own philosophies. I'm not saying I'm the end all be all, but I'm telling you, I think the continuity, good or bad, outweighs any more changes. I think the team has been through a lot of injuries. I think the team is in the entire organization with the Harris Blitzer tandem, which I'll explain more later. They have yet, from a hockey sense, know what they're doing. Everybody that they brought in, Tom Fitzgerald, who I do like, we haven't seen the fruits of his labor yet. Okay, a lot of the drafting he's done. Some of these draftees haven't played in the NHL, not because they suck. It's because it's not their time. And, I think it's too much of the extreme on analytics because it's obvious. Because if you look at the roster, it's one of the youngest rosters in the NHL. It's all numbers based.
They're the youngest.
I mean,
roster.
it's
They're
kind
the only
of
roster that averages under 25 years of age.
Yeah. So the point is, I think the appropriate change would be next season. I think that's probably going to happen. I'm not saying that Lindy Ruff is going to win a cup with the Devils. No, what I'm saying is for next season, they should stick with him. And then when you have Kevin Dineen, if he sticks around, whether it's with the Comets or as assistant coach with the Devils, I'm just making up a scenario, it really primes him to be his successor, and it does put Ruff on the hot seat right now. You're seeing, Utica right now, I believe they have a bye. I'm going to be watching very closely how they fare in the AHL playoffs. Can they really bring a Calder trophy? I just think that one more year of Dineen with that team would do the Devils organization wonders for the next 5-7 years afterwards. And I think really Ruff, again, we explained this on the Sunday podcast. He is a great developmental coach. He in Buffalo, remember back in those days, these guys had no money. No money, and he had to work with scraps. But he did have Dominic Hasek. Okay, he did. That was after Ted Nolan, if you remember, when Ruff took over. So again, I just don't think short term and long term it's a good idea to make a change. That's all.
Some of those early 2000s Buffalo teams were good with Briere and
Drury
and
Tolinder, Drew Stafford.
There was a couple decent. Yeah, I mean those are there's a
Thomas
couple different eras there.
Ryan
and
Miller.
Then there was those Dallas Stars teams. I mean, Ruff got the best out of Tyler Seguin that anybody has. Jim Montgomery couldn't get that out of Tyler Seguin. And the current guy's name is escaping me. Bonus
and the Dallas Stars, they did make it to the Stanley Cup Finals in the bubble. They did. Ruff's DNA is on that team.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I think Montgomery's DNA is, at that point, there's a little bit of Ruff with Jamie Benn and a couple other guys, but, I still think that was more of a, Ruff hadn't been there, 3 years at that point?
Yeah.
So, I still think that's plenty of time to get a new DNA. There's still some of Ruff's progression there, and that's the point, is that I think Lindy Ruff is very good at building offensive talent. Now, if I told you your options were you can get a new coach and keep Lindy Ruff in the front office so you get his voice, you get his teaching, you wouldn't want that?
I don't think he would go for it, would he?
I mean, he's 60. What is he? 61.
He's getting older.
He's not getting another job this year. So he either has to take the risk that he can take an assistant job again, like he did with the Rangers. And what was he with? He was with the Rangers, 3 years before he got this job again?
Yeah.
At least 2. So he has to take a shot that he's going to be with the Rangers for 2 years, or be with another team for 2 years, coach a subsection of the team, and excel in such a way that he's going to usurp a lot of these other head coaching candidates. I don't think he would get. I don't think there's one job that would hire him this year, and not because he's not a good coach, but because there's a lot of candidates this year. Like, think about, if Vancouver doesn't bring back Boudreau, if DeBoer gets fired, if I'm watching and the Leafs are down 2-0. What if they get tight again? If they lose another first round series, how does Sheldon Keefe survive?
I don't know.
Like, you can't keep losing in the first round. So there's another job, and there's another really quality coach that's going out there. The Ricard Gromberg noise is back up, and I hear a lot of people saying, "Why would you want a coach that just blew a 3-0 lead in the final?" I was like, "Well, because there's a lot of coaches that have blown leads, and it just happens." Joe Torre is one of the greatest managers of all time. He blew a 3-0 lead. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, sports are finicky. Things happen. Momentum's real. It is what it is. I still want Ricard Gromberg as the coach here. I think that especially with all the Europeans here, and with such a young team, I think that's willing to build with him. I think it would be a great hire. But, there's so many candidates, and there's a couple really good AHL candidates. I mean, Kevin Dineen, you don't think that somebody's not going to knock on his door after what he did with Utica this year, turning Binghamton into Utica and what they did with a lot of that talent? And I know they fell off at the end, but that was because we kept taking his goalie. We kept taking his players. I'm with you, Sam. I'm really curious of what Utica does with the rest of their season. I might have to buy that AHL baggage.
Just remember this. Kevin Dineen, he was deep down inside. There's a possibility Ruff's out by November, December of this year, calendar year. He right now, the way it stands right now, things can change when the playoffs, what Utica does. I'm not going to speculate where it would go because nobody really knows. And I honestly think that Dineen will get the job at some point, and I think tomorrow it's going to be still Lindy Ruff's job. He's on the hot seat. I wonder who's going to pick his assistants. That's what I want to know. Is Lindy going to have a hand in it?
There. I mean, Lindy has to have a hand in it. He has to work with these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's here's where I agree with you. If you go into
which doesn't happen often.
If you go into the season next year, you have a succession plan in place if it doesn't work, and you can pivot quickly. Dineen would take over New Jersey, and I would say Sergei Brelin takes over in Utica. Sarge, he's been the Devils' assistant coach in the minor leagues for 9 seasons. So, if he wants to be a head coach, I think that he's proven that he can be that. But you're also locking yourself into that succession plan. You're taking a guy, he has NHL head coaching experience, Dineen, but, there's a reason why he's been in the NHL for all these years. But he's done such a good job. He's done a phenomenal job with Utica. I can't take anything away from him. I can't. He's done more with Utica than I thought anybody could. I thought it was going to be another transition year with Utica where Alexander Holtz kind of had to find his way. And, the rookie goalies was what really worried me, with Dawes and Schmid replacing Evan Cormier and Jill Sen from last year. I mean, we don't even talk about them anymore. Like, think about that, Sam. We had 2 completely different goalies as the backups in the system last year, and now they're just they're afterthoughts, and that happens
Yeah.
when you take a goalie as late as the Devils usually take them. Like it's a risk, So sometimes they turn into Color Hellebuyck in the 5th round. Sometimes they turn into Igor Shesterkin. I think he was the 4th round or the 5th round, and then sometimes it's Jill Sen, and they just don't turn anything, and it is what it is. I'm curious, but were you curious, Sam, that the goalie coach didn't get it too? That they didn't just wipe out the entire staff and start from scratch?
That says a lot.
I
don't know. That they have confidence in them? I have no idea. I don't even know what to make of it. You asked me a question. I really don't. It's who knows? It's maybe that's Ruff's guy.
Is there anyone? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Is there anyone in the NHL, any coach, that would have you change your mind? If John Cooper says he wants to come to New Jersey, he wants a new challenge. If, I'm just trying to think of like some of the best coaches in the league.
Yeah, you know what? That's like saying, hey, if Bobby Orr wants to play defense, in his prime for the New Jersey Devils,
it's not.
Would you take him?
Because we've seen people come. Like if Barry Trotz becomes available, let's say that's a possibility. If Barry Trotz becomes available, or if Rutherford in Pittsburgh, if he becomes available, is this something that changes your mind?
Not at the moment. I still believe in the continuity at the moment.
You don't. These are championship level coaches.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. One more year, Ruff, then you can get your championship coaches.
But they're available now. Is the point? I don't think Trotz is going to become available again. I personally don't think he's going to become available. I think we would have found out by now. But Lou works in mysterious ways. And I don't think that the Penguins are going to. I don't think the Penguins are going to. Toronto just scored. I'm very upset about it. I don't think the Penguins are going to get rid of their coach no matter what. But they have had a couple first-round exits, and the window's closing. It might be closed in Pittsburgh. I don't think it is. And I'm rooting like heck. I mean, my wife's from Pittsburgh, so this is a Penguins household as well. But, them facing the Rangers has me. I might wear a Geno jersey. Who knows?
If he scores game-winning goals like that, of course.
I know. Yeah. I probably should have worn it tonight. I wore the Subban because it might be the last time I have a chance to wear the Subban.
Yeah, but the problem is that confuses the branding of this fine programming called the State of the Fan Address.
You don't think the giant Devils logo above my head is helping with that branding?
Not if you're wearing a Penguins jersey.
No.
I mean, then again, like I should talk. I mean, look at my background. I've got Mickey Mouse poking fun of ourselves because we stink, and I got a Rangers suck logo back there.
Got a Texans
People
jersey.
Are looking at the video. Well, that's for our one of our fan favorites, Andre Johnson, also known as Andreas Janssen. And that picture back there is when I was at the Great Wall of China, putting that Devils banner out, the 2003 Stanley Cup Championship banner. It was in 2004 when I went. And a little story about that, Nick. I go to another country. I thought it would be fun because to do that. And let me tell you how I almost got in big trouble, because when I put that out there at one of the 8 wonders of the world, because there's a cultural difference between the United States and China. The word says devils, and it looks like a political protest. And I had armed guards looking for that guy. And next to that yellow vehicle there was our tour bus, and I had to hide there nonchalantly as they were looking for me. True story.
Dang,
And
so you escaped the po in China. That's
well,
badass.
I also did in whatchamacallit, the Colosseum in Rome.
Oh,
I
okay.
had a banner. I actually have pictures of this. If I have to find it, but I've actually got real pictures of all the action that's going on. Back then, we didn't have camera phones. We had the big digital camera, and I did that at the Coliseum, and I actually threw Ranger Suck confetti as well. I've thrown Ranger Suck confetti at the Coliseum, which armed guards. All of a sudden, the PA system's like blah, 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 in Italian, and here I am again running from the police, and got away with it. And then the other place that I totally got away with it, throwing Ranger Suck confetti, was the Eiffel Tower in France. And this is again another true story. So when I got off the Eiffel Tower, right, I threw the Ranger Suck confetti. I actually stashed Ranger Suck confetti in crevices at the Eiffel Tower in France to make sure that any New Yorkers that travel there, if they happen to find one, know what the deal is. And when I got down, I was surrounded by, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on air, but I think they're gypsies. I think that's the group called. They were hanging around, and and all that. And then there was a security, not, I wouldn't say a security guard. It's like an armed security guy at the Eiffel Tower, and on his shoulder was a Ranger Suck confetti.
Nice.
But I couldn't get a picture of it because I was too scared, because I was also worried about getting pickpocketed as well. But those are my stories. I'm just trying to eat up some innings of this fine podcast in the off season. You'll learn that we're going to be.
Pockets are important in Europe. Buttons on pockets.
Yes. Yeah.
And I carry no cash now when I go to Europe because my credit cards transfer over. They do automatic. What's it called? Money transfer? Not transfer. What is it? Conversions. They do automatic conversions.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I gotta talk to Moose, Rebecca Morse, who plays for the PHF. Yeah. Dunkin' Donuts or Dunkin' sponsors the PHF. Even when it was at the NWHL as well. For whatever reason, my credit card does not work at Dunkin'. It gets declined every single time, but it works everywhere else. I don't know why. I've been complaining about that. Or maybe that's just someone up above, maybe a higher being telling me, stop eating, you big fat pig. But anyway, let's get back to Devils hockey.
Get Wawa coffee. What are you doing?
Only if they sponsor this fine programming.
The Leafs just made a massive boo-boo, and now it's 3-1. Guy on the penalty kill just tried to pass to a guy without a stick, and the puck ended up on Kucherov's stick, and that's the end of that, Jack. So 3-1 Lightning.
Are you sure the Devils aren't playing for Toronto?
I know, right? There was a couple times where the Penguins made some mistakes. So I was like, that looks like a Devils zone exit attempt. That was terrible.
How about Louis last night filling in, holding the fort? So does that tell you anything? Does that tell you anything as a small sample size? Is it the talent or is it the organization? And it's a good question to ask, because I just see all ex-Devils doing well, like Scott Wedgwood, Louis Domingue.
Do you know what it does tell me, Sam? It tells me that the Devils are smart to get that third goalie. The attempt is always correct. The way they handled those third goalies is always incorrect. But the offseason move to get the third NHL goalie, and you know what? You're just going to have one defenseman, one forward, and one goalie as your extras next year. You're a young enough team that you're going to have people with waivers, that aren't waiver eligible that you could bring up and down. You're going to have to bite the bullet and bring a Scott Wedgwood type. I think Scott Wedgwood is getting a legitimate backup job next year. So I think we're out on him. But if you look at a guy like, I want to say like a Craig Anderson type, not him because I think he's 41. But, maybe like a an Anton Forsberg or just one of those ilks. That was the thing. I did see that people were trying to call me out from the Sunday show when I brought up Carey Price. I guess Carey Price is considering retirement. Didn't realize that when I brought that up. So looks like we're looking at there was discourse, Sam. A couple of weeks ago I wrote about what the Devils should do to get Connor Hellebuyck. I said the ask. This is the miscommunication on things, and that's okay. This is how Twitter works. But the ask I said was going to be Alexander Holtz, Dawson Mercer, and or the first-round pick. I think they're going to ask for two of those. I think the Devils will laugh at that proposal if this happens. But I don't think the Jets are looking to trade Hellebuyck, so you're going to have to wow them with a deal. And the only way the Devils could wow somebody with a deal right now is with the first-round pick, Alexander Holtz or Dawson Mercer. Those are the three pieces that are going to knock people on their butts. I would not trade any of them for Connor Hellebuyck. He only has 2 years left on his deal. He's very good, but he had a down year for him this year. I think he'll bounce back fine. I think he'd be great with the Devils. I just think that trading a piece that is such a guarantee as those three, I think is not fruitful. But I would literally say you want anything else. Anyone from the bottom six, anyone from the AHL, anyone from Europe, anyone from Russia, anyone from wherever. You want Shakir Mukhamadullin, Arsenij Gricic, Nolan Foote, and the second-round pick, and I don't know, Fabian Zetterlund. You want to just go, let's go. You want Riley Walsh and Jesper Boquist and Chase Stillman and something like that. Great, do the deal. If you want 5 high quality prospects and a second round pick for it, I'll do that. I'll do that deal. I will send you all the high quality prospects. I will change the way you want McLeod and Bastion together on top of Nolan Foote and on top of Fabian Zetterlund and on top of the second round pick. You want the second, third, fourth, and fifth pick with 2 prospects. I'm doing that. You know what I mean? I will make a lot. I will move heaven and earth to get him, but sending Holtz, Mercer, or the first round pick is moving a solar system. Those are just phenomenal pieces. If they said to me, if I'm Tom Fitzgerald, they come to me and they said, Tom, is it still shovel day off over there? Is that still the Jets GM?
I think so.
I think he survived the whole Blackhawks thing. If shovel day off comes to Fitzgerald, he goes, listen, I understand. I can ask you for a lot. Just give me the pick. Just give me the first round pick. This is when your butt gets tight. You get a tight butt, Sam, when that happens. Because that's a deal that's, boy, should be around 5th overall pick for Hellebuyck. He's an American. He's a superstar, one of the best in the league. He's the one position that you desperately need to fix. Even if he says I want the pick and Blackwood, I'm still, butt's getting a little tight, Sam. He's on a great contract. He's not on the Carey Price contract. I'm just kind of getting a little tight up. I'm like, oh man, that's I don't know. What say you, Sam? Do you trade the first round pick if it's straight up for Hellebuyck?
Do you really think that, let's say Shesterkin this year have an amazing season? Do you think if you transplanted him and put him on the Devils, that it would really turn around the Devils season this year and they would be a much better team? Or is it just really going to mask all of their problems, both on power play, giving up all those shorthanded, or, defensively, or to tell you the truth, as much as I want a great goaltender, I just don't think it really solves the overall picture here for the Devils. There are still a lot of holes.
I don't think there are. I really don't. I don't think there are that many holes. I think there's what the power play's a hole, but I think that's coaching. And we just got rid of our power play coach, so that should hopefully rectify itself. I think that there's one hole in the top 6 that's we're one piece away, and that piece could be an improved Tomas Tatar or an improved Alexander Holtz, or somebody just stepping up. That could be that could fill the hole in the top 6. I don't want to bank on that, but I'd say it's possible.
I would like to have a power forward. And I think possibly, you may kill me here, I think Zetterlund has a shot to be that guy.
Oh, I'm not going to kill you. I like Zetterlund. I thought I didn't have a lot of hope for him coming into the season, but he played so well this year. And he does.
Plays with an edge.
Around. Yeah, he throws the
body
around.
Plays with an edge. And I think that's what the Devils need. Edge.
So you have Bastian back. He's somebody who plays with an edge. He throws the body around. He led the team in hits. You hope that you get Wood back at 100%. That's kind of a worry for me to bank on. I don't want to bank on a 100% Wood. He tried to play it at 100%. He said it hurt his hip. And I don't want that to happen next year. Hopefully he gets better with rest. That is
hopefully.
But he's somebody who plays with an edge. And if you get one more, you know what? I mean, Sam, the ideal player for this team, the player that, might even do better than a goalie at turning this team around is Matthew Tkachuk.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would trade either first round caliber players and a pick for him. I mean, I think that would.
I wouldn't trade Mercer because I'm not trading Mercer in any deal because I think Mercer's.
No, I'm talking about Chase Stillman. I'm talking Chase Stillman.
Yeah, I mean, I'd send you Stillman, Mukumadulin, Nolan Foote, Zetterlund, a lot. I will trade you, but I think that to get to Chuck, I think you're going to have to say goodbye to Holtz, or you're going to have to say goodbye to the first round pick.
And of course, there's the Fitzgerald connection with the Tkachuk family, so that would make sense. Now, I will tell you, because you're expending a lot of capital, you may kill me here when I say this, I'd rather make that deal than spending it on a goaltender at this point.
I would only do it for Hellebuyck. I'm not doing it on any other goaltender.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to get that point out there. Fair enough.
Yeah. There's no goaltender.
I believe in Nico Dahls. But he's just a couple of years away.
He's still 2 years away. Yeah. He needs 2 years in the minors and maybe some NHL call-ups along the way. But he just needs time. He was super average this year, and that's more than I could have asked for him at, 20 years old? Way more than I could have asked for him.
21. Yeah, and first professional season in North America, he had a heck of a season.
He was very good, and he showed a lot of promise.
And he's not done yet. He's not done yet.
I always liked Dawes. I thought Dawes he has an outside shot to be the best goalie in that draft, and that was a draft with Spencer Knight, right? I think that was the same draft. Yeah. So he has an outside shot to be that guy. I'm definitely, and he was great. He led the OHL in save percentage during his junior year. He was the starting goalie for Canada at the World Juniors until, he wasn't anymore. But he was still there. He proved himself to be the starting goalie when he was an afterthought. People forget the Devils drafted him as an overager. They didn't draft him in his first year of draft eligibility. He went undrafted that first year. So the Devils got him in that second year after he had that phenomenal season, and just something must have clicked in him. And it's funny. I just wrote an article yesterday. Do you know who's a player who I'm starting to really want in the offseason?
Who's that?
Mason Marchment. Mason Marchment, just something about him, just his journey. And he's a little older. I think he's 26 or 27. But he's an unrestricted free agent for Florida, and he didn't make major junior until he was 19 years old. And then you look on top of that, he signs a minor league deal surprisingly with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He plays for the Marlies. Then he signs the NHL deal with the Maple Leafs, and they trade him to the Panthers for I think it's Dennis Meglin. And now look at him. He's a 40-point player. I think he's somebody that could have a Blake Coleman like resurgence late in his career. So I think he's somebody that the Devils should look at. That's far in advance. We're gonna do free agency stuff. We're gonna do stuff like that. But we're getting close to the end here, Sam. We usually do about 45 minutes with the no guest nights. So but I will say that
I didn't tell you to hurry up. I was just telling you on the text.
It's fine. No worries. I'm running out of things to say. My mouth is starting.
No, I got plenty of things to say. I got plenty of things to say. Do you mind if I say them before we go?
Yeah, go. You speak, and then I'll do some things.
Yeah. So far, I think the NHL playoffs. It's got a lot of drama. It's entertaining. I think it's great. 3 overtimes, 79 saves for Shesterkin, and they still lose. It took them that long to lose. I mean, I just think the product is good. The line brawl, again, you don't want to see anybody get hurt, but at the same time, it's like, I'll admit it. Fighting always gets me excited when it's out there, if it's within context. I love hockey, and it sucks that the Devils aren't in the playoffs. I used to get season tickets. I still have season tickets, but I used to get season tickets back in the day. More of that was my license to the playoffs, so it guarantees me a seat once those are sold. I don't have to go on Ticketmaster and wipe you guys out, and wipe out my bank account because, all those fees that you have to pay. With that said, I just really love the NHL. I think there's a lot of exciting hockey out there, and I hope that Tom Fitzgerald does the right thing. We'll find out tomorrow. I may do a Woo report, get your rapid reaction, what's going on tomorrow, and also go to pucksandpitchforks.com. There is no off season here, Nick. I tell everybody, what are you going to do? There's no hockey. It's like, trust me, the pandemic was our good proving ground. We know what to do when there's no Devils hockey. We talk more about Devils hockey. That's all we do.
Yeah. Oh, this isn't the off season. This is the season. The season never ends. We're like WWE.
Yeah.
There is no off season here.
Yeah. But we'll do our best. I came back from Florida, so I'll be back in the saddle as well. Any good articles coming out? I mean, you mentioned about Dan Rice tomorrow.
Yeah, Dan Rice has a long form piece on the decision of whether to keep or to trade Damon Severson. A lot of good quotes in there. He asked him questions directly. So it's always good to get the perspective of the guy in the room. We don't get that a lot nowadays from non-Devils media. So it's good to kind of get that perspective. And Dan says that he's going to give us a little bit more of that based on the questions he asked during exit interviews. So expect a lot more from Dan over the next month. Vinny Parisi wrote a piece today about the players going to World Championships in Finland. So check that one out. I wrote the 7 players you need to watch in the playoffs because they're unrestricted free agents. One of the people, Billy Husso, the St. Louis Blues is a name I hear a lot. And I feel like the only way the Devils are going to make that move is if he has a dominant run in the playoffs. So he's a player to watch here. But 6 others besides Husso in the playoffs that you should watch because they're becoming free agents. And I got a couple other pieces. One that I'm going to write for Friday is I'm going to write the 5 crazy things that could happen this offseason. Things that are going to hit you off the side of the head. You're not really expecting it, but it could happen. So these are all great things that are coming out. I'm going to do more slideshows, more big pieces. The people have come out. We've done 50,000 views already in May. And it's the 4th. So people are excited.
Wow.
People are still reading. People are excited to read about the Devils. We're going to do more off-season stuff. We're going to do more playoff stuff. We're going to do more just kind of really hard opinion pieces. So make sure you're checking that out. Pucksandpitchforks.com. Hit up the @PitchforkPuck. And we'll have reaction tomorrow, too, to whatever Tom Fitzgerald says. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Haven't been sleeping much this week, so I'm going to miss the initial conversations because I'm going to be dead asleep. But follow Vinny Parisi. Follow a couple of the other guys. Charlie Borges will probably have some opinions. We'll have a couple other guys who will have some opinions. So follow them. Follow Dan Rice on Twitter. D Rice Hockey. Follow him. They'll all have opinions. They'll all talk about what's happening. And then when I wake up, I'll write something on it for you and get that out as soon as I can. But thanks for reading, guys. Thanks for listening. Yeah, next week we got some exciting guests coming up too.
Yep, and also keep it here, keep it real. The Woo Report will be back in action very soon. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Whistler, Isaiah, Mike Rossi, everybody on the social media channels. So next time, let's go Devils.